And here's the Australian lineup. At number 1, the Balmain fullback, Gary Jack. Number 2, the goal-kicking winger, Ross Conlon in the centres. The galloping giant, Gene Miles, and the Parramatta Prince, Brett Kenny. Wally Lewis at 5'8", captains Australia for the very first time. At the base of the scrum, enormous talent in Ray Price and Wayne Pearce. And then the Queensland connection, Brian Niebling, Greg Dowling, hooker Greg Conescu, and Dave Brown, number 8. The forwards on both sides being numbered internationally from the front row back. Now the Great Britain side. At fullback, Mick Burke, number 1. Number 2, that rugged head-on customer, Des Drummond. Number 3, at just 18 years of age, the baby of the back line, young Gary Schofield from the Yorkshire coastal city of Hull. Look out for number 5, Big Ellery Hanley on the wing. Number 6, Des Foy, a young fellow with a man-sized job of marking Wally Lewis. Number 7, a brilliant-looking halfback who's been playing great football on tour, Neil Holding. The forwards, and there's been a late change here with the withdrawal of Keith Rain from the front row with a knee injury. It's Andy Goodway moving up to number 10 and Mick Worrell coming into the second row. Your commentator, Darryl.
Britain 5.56, slightly heavier. This scrum will pack down inside the Great Britain territory by about 10 metres. Great Britain ball. Holding will play it back. There's a ball in the background now. It's on, and this is traditional test stuff. Punches being thrown as it explodes the tension. Still going on here. There's so many outbreaks of fights here. They're trying to settle both sides down. Wrestling all over. Groups of players here at the moment. Dave Brown being pulled up. It's Noble in the centre there with Pearce. Price settling them down. Lee Crooks having a bit to say. Oh, look at the look on Drummond. Up and gets Dumfries trouble. This is Lee Crooks. England now is starting to run it. This is the second row of Burton. He's big and tough and has a big reputation. Big man too. Wally Lewis underneath him. Oh, and he's just given Wally one for his corner. Well, that's a stupid thing to do, Jack. Conlon. Murray again. Almost back to the 22, Murray. That's a good run. He's taken play inside the Great Britain 22. Conescu, Lewis, got a caught too in Pearce, gets back to Lewis, and Lewis is over for Australia! Oh, that's a great bit of football! Pearce and Lewis combined and are over for the green and goals. Australia 6, Great Britain 0. Noble, Adams, they just run straight and hard. Burton sort of takes the ball up pretty hard, just drops the shoulder. Noble. Still 8 metres short of the halfway line. Schofield goes into dummy half, you notice a lot. Schofield out in some open spaces. Schofield still going. Is the support going to get to him? No, Australia take him down. Just short of the 22. He seems to have recovered from that knock with his encounter with Burke. Great Britain player down in back play, but will stay with the action. Ball is up on the line, it's loose. Oh, there's the post, and he just couldn't get it over the line. That was Murray. Brett Kenny unloads it back. Here's Pearce. Out wide, there's Price. Chance for Australia. Price is in. He's gone over the arm. Man of the game, Ray Price. Frank Stamp pretty happy. And the Australian crowd applaud one of the great gladiators of the game. Frank Marler not too happy, though. One of them.
There's no altercation in the midfield between Dowling and a Great Britain player, but stick with the play. Players are coming in from everywhere. Touch judges are in. Referees called a halt to proceedings, but that hasn't stopped the players. Lee Crooks is involved. Dave Brown's involved. Dowling was involved in the initial disturbance with been Dowling. Here it is now. Here's Dowling with the ball. Now it's after the ball has gone. Dowling is still number 10 for Australia. An altercation there with Noble, I think it may have been. And that's where it all started. Those two were into it, and players came from everywhere. Frank Stanton and Peter Moore, the Australian manager, watching intently. And he's sin bin for 10 minutes, the 2 players. Dowling for Australia, and is it, yes, it's Lee Crooks for Great Britain. So Dowling and Crooks sin bin for 10 minutes. Well, I'm surprised that Crooks was involved in that. However, this is Worrell. And Noble now running from dummy half. Australia leads 12 points to 2. Schofield and Burton, 32 metres out. Burton pinching a little bit of extra distance. Back for Adams. Now out for Drummond. Drummond out of 1. Straightening. He's got support. Away it goes, and Great Britain is in to score. Gary Schofield, the 18-year-old centre, is in to score. Schofield making his test debut.
Viewers have new interest in this game now. Ray Price. Ray Price allowed to run. Taken by Worrell. Mark Murray. Lewis switches play. Back to Niebling. Niebling has runners coming through. The defence is there. Noble, a main tackler on Conescu. Lewis floats one out now for Brett Kenny. Brett Kenny pass out for the wing. He'll go straight and he'll go in. Harry Boasted hits back for Australia. Right under the post. Great try. Frank Stanton elated. Well, it didn't take him long to hit back. Brett Kenny weaving his magic at the Sydney cricket traffic as usual. Dowling will play it for Australia. Back to Conescu, out to Murray. Murray selecting runners in Niebling. Back to Murray again. So the Queensland connection working pretty well. Miss Burton certainly tackled everything this afternoon. Last tackle for Australia. Lewis goes for a field goal, and it's there. Well, Wally Lewis, they say he can't play at the Sydney Cricket Ground, but Frank Marler wouldn't be very happy with that. He's weaving his magic. He scored a try, now a field goal. Cool as you like. There it is. Wally Lewis. Scoreline now, Australia 9.
Midfield, just inside the Great Britain quarter.
Well, I think everything's in the dark here. The light's just about cut out. And some of these decisions,
well, Mark Murray's not in the dark. He's under the post to score the easiest of tries. Well, the Great Britain players just looked at him. They almost pushed him over. There's only about 30 seconds of play remaining. Down to Kerry Boasted. He's 30... well, about 30 metres out from the Australian line. Conescu, hitting a high tackle from David Hodge. Oh, my goodness me. That was a sickening tackle for
Ray must get
Yes, he has been sent off. David Hobbs, the English replacement, has been sent off. And I must admit that I'm not surprised, because it was a vicious tackle. Well, the Australian players are around Conescu. Look at this again. That's a savage tackle with the forearm, the elbow. Oh. Well, Hobbs, the player who's been sent off, was only on the field for 8 minutes. And as I say, there's only seconds remaining in the match. You ask the question, why? Well, Greg Conescu being carried off. The Australian doctor is there. Great Britain 25 points to 8. The statistics, a massive penalty count, 28 penalties in all, and Great Britain the lion's share of them, and the scrums 4 apiece. So Australia winning the first test 25 to 8. We'll be back shortly with Mike.